China. The Taiping Rebellion. It starts in China,
mid-1800s.
and it's not just a rebellion, it's an apocalypse. The Taiping Rebellion killed 20 to 30 million people, making it the deadliest civil war in human history.
Picture this.
Southern China, endless rice fields, peasants starving, Qing dynasty soldiers cracking down. Then comes Hong Xiuquan, a failed exam student who believes he's the younger brother of Jesus Christ. He builds an army of believers, men and women, who call themselves the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. Their goal? Destroy the Qing Empire and build a kingdom of heaven on earth.
By 1853,
They captured Nanjing, renamed it Tianjing, and ruled over 30 million people. It's not a tiny rebellion, it's a full-on alternative China. They ban opium, alcohol, gambling. They enforce equality for women. But inside the dream there's terror, forced conversions, executions, starvation. The Qing dynasty strikes back with modern weapons and regional armies, backed by British and French advisors who don't want chaos interrupting their trade. Battles like the Third Battle of Nanjing
in 1864,
turn the Yangtze River red with blood. The city falls. The Taiping leader dies. Millions of civilians starve or are massacred. When it's over, China is shattered. Entire provinces depopulated, villages erased. The Qing survived but never recovered, paving the road to the next century's revolutions. The Taiping Rebellion proves one thing. When belief turns into war, no empire is safe.
United States, the American Civil War,
Now jump to America.
1861.
The country splits in half. North versus South. Union versus Confederacy. Slavery is the fuel, politics the spark, and the result? Over 600,000 dead Americans, more than in any other U.S. war.
Imagine it.
Brothers fighting on opposite sides, trains carrying the wounded, fields soaked in blood. The war begins when Confederate forces attack Fort Sumter, and President Abraham Lincoln calls for troops to save the Union.
At first,
Everyone thought it'll be quick. It isn't. The Battle of Antietam leaves 23,000 casualties in a single day. Gettysburg turns Pennsylvania into a graveyard. The Emancipation Proclamation turns the war into a fight not just for Union, but for freedom, a moral line drawn in fire.
by 1865,
Confederate leader Robert E. Lee surrendered. Lincoln wins and then is assassinated days later. The South lies in ruins, slavery is gone, but racial wounds are far from healed. The American Civil War shows that even a democracy can bleed itself nearly to death over its own ideals. And it wouldn't be the last time ideology split a nation.
Russia, the Russian Civil War,
Next stop,
in 1917,
the Tsar is gone, the empire is collapsing, and chaos reigns. What follows kills 7 to 12 million people and births the Soviet Union. It starts with the Bolshevik Revolution, when Lenin and his followers overthrow the provisional government. But not everyone's on board. The Reds, Bolsheviks, face the Whites, a chaotic mix of monarchists, liberals, and anti-communists. Add foreign armies from Britain, Japan, and the US, and you've got a multi-front nightmare. The war burned.
from 1918 to 1921.
Entire cities Petrograd, Moscow, to Tsaritsyn become battlegrounds. The Red Army, led by Leon Trotsky, fights not just soldiers but civilians. The countryside starves. Villages caught between both sides are wiped out. One of the darkest moments comes with the Tambov Rebellion, when peasants rise against Bolshevik grain seizures. The Red Army uses poison gas on them. Millions die from famine, disease, and purges.
By 1923, the Reds win.
The USSR is born, and Lenin's vision becomes law, but at a horrifying human cost. Russia's civil war shows how revolution eats its own children and rebuilds the world from the ashes.
Spain, the Spanish Civil War, the 1930s.
The world's watching. Fascists versus socialists. Neighbors turning into enemies. This civil war kills 500,000 and becomes a dress rehearsal for World War II. It starts when General Francisco Franco and his army revolt against the left-wing Republican government. Quickly, Spain divides. Republicans in the cities and working-class regions, nationalists in the countryside and the army. The fighting is brutal. Guernica, a small Basque town, is bombed by Nazi planes supporting Franco civilians shredded in the streets. Pablo Picasso paints the horror into one of history's most famous artworks. Foreign powers turn Spain into a testing ground. Hitler and Mussolini arm the nationalists. Stalin supports the Republicans. Volunteers from all over the world, writers, students, and idealists join the international brigades to fight fascism. But Franco's forces grind them down.
By 1939, Madrid fell.
The Republic collapsed, and a dictatorship began that lasted nearly 40 years. The Spanish Civil War is proof that ideology can turn an entire nation into a battlefield, and that global wars often start with local ones.
Nigeria, the Biafran War.
Nigeria is young, newly independent, full of oil and ethnic tension. When the southeastern region, mostly Igbo people, declares independence as Biafra, the rest of the country declares war. The result? A humanitarian catastrophe. Over 1 million civilians die, mostly from starvation. The Biafran leader, Chukwuemeka Ojukwu, believes his people can't survive under a hostile central government. Nigeria, backed by Britain and the Soviet Union, surrounds Biafra. The blockade cuts off food, medicine, and fuel. Images of starving children with distended bellies flood the world, some of the first televised images of mass famine. Foreign mercenaries, propaganda, and arms deals turn it into a modern media war. Biafra fights fiercely,
but collapses in 1970.
The survivors rejoin Nigeria, broken and scarred. The Biafran War forces the world to confront the dark side of nationalism and the power of hunger as a weapon. It's not ancient history, it's a warning for every fragile state today.
Syria, the Syrian Civil War.
And finally, our century's deadliest civil war, Syria.
It began in 2011
with peaceful protests. People want change, jobs, freedom. The government responds with bullets. Soon, the protests turn into war. The Assad regime fights rebels, jihadists, and later ISIS. Foreign powers pile in: Russia, Iran, Turkey, and the US, each backing their own sides. The result is chaos, cities flattened, millions displaced. Aleppo, once one of the oldest cities on earth, becomes a ghost town after years of siege and bombing. Chemical attacks, refugee crises, and war crimes become global headlines. Over 500,000 people died, millions more scattered across the world.
By the 2020s, the
Assad government survives, but the country doesn't. Infrastructure's gone, the economy's dead, and the trauma runs deep. The Syrian civil war shows what happens when a modern state implodes. In the age of social media, everyone watches, but nobody stops it.
Not every country made this list, but almost every nation has fought itself at some point. Sudan tore itself apart twice before birthing South Sudan. Cambodia bled through the killing fields. Yemen, Ethiopia, the Congo, all still paying the price of division. Even nations that seem peaceful today have ghosts buried under their soil, from Ireland's troubles to Colombia's endless insurgencies. Civil war doesn't always start with guns, it starts with pride, with us versus them, with leaders who forget that power means protecting people, not dividing them. History keeps showing us the same brutal truth. No one truly wins a civil war. Not the armies, not the politicians, not the civilians who survive only to rebuild the ruins. The winners just get to count their dead last. But if humanity can learn anything from China, America, Russia, Spain, Nigeria, and Syria, it's that peace isn't weakness, it's endurance, it's intelligence, it's survival. So wherever you are, whether your country is at peace or on the edge, remember this. Unity is harder than war, but it's the only victory that lasts. Make peace. Keep it alive. Because we are divided, we repeat history, but united, we rewrite it.